Hey everybody, it's me, Angela Walters. Welcome to my weekly live chat. I hope that you've had a great week. I know it certainly has been marvelous here. The weather's been great. It's that perfect time of the year where we get like 3 nice days and we're all together, so it was really, really fun. I'm really looking forward to today's live chat. I've got some show and tell, some things to show you. I've got a giveaway, plus I'll answer your questions live if you're watching right now live with me. Of course, Jessica's here as always, monitoring the chat, writing down the questions, and so if you have it, if you're watching live, go ahead and leave that in there. I love to answer the questions at the end and just, make sure everybody's out there listening. It's kind of fun. Before we get to the show and tell for my new block of the month, I want to talk about a little giveaway I have, and I'm doing something different for this live chat. I'm going to do a giveaway on the live chat. So if you're watching this live, it's the only way to enter, and you just leave a comment, just say, give me the fabric, or hey, Jessica, and she'll pick a random winner towards the end of the live chat, and I'll announce it live. So what am I giving away? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I'm giving away my new fabric collection. It's Hoot and Holler. One of the things that surprises me is that I'm a fabric designer. That really was something that I struggled with and had to learn, and so it's kind of fun. So I designed this fabric collection for Halloween. So it's got some wood grain and some textures. I mean, we know that I'm not the hugest purple fan, but obviously it's growing on me because I keep collecting it and using it. Of course, some orange, and then of course some nice grays. So cute little Hoot and Holler fat quarter bundle. So again, if you want to get it, leave a little comment in the live chat only while we're live, and I'll announce the winner at the end. But if you don't win it, no worries. I do have a promo deal for you. We have 20% off all of our Hoot and Holler fat quarter bundle or yardage. And so all you have to do is use promo code HOOT, like Hoot. And the link is in the description box below. You can check that out, and that's going to be good through next week. So if you want to get your hands on some of that fabric, some of that pretty fabric, you can definitely do that by going to the website. But don't forget to use that promo code and get 20% off. We all love a deal, right? So again, like to do giveaways, discounts every once in a while, just to, mix it up, keep it interesting. So hopefully you'll be a lucky winner. If not, you'll have to grab some on the website and get it for you. All right. In today's live chat, I want to talk to you, do a little show and tell about Build a Quilt. That's our Block of the Month program. It is one of the biggest undertakings of the year for my whole team and I. And it's been the culmination of a lot of work. I can't wait to show you. And I thought the Hoot and Holler would be a good transition into that because I do design the fabric for that Block of the Month as well. So through this little show and tell you a little bit about announcement about the Build a Quilt, I do want to give a little bit of the peek into the process behind the scenes. Not that anybody's asked, but I myself am very interested in how things work, what gets handled, what do things actually look like. And so just pull back the curtain, give you a little peek. But if you have done Build a Quilt before with me, our Block of the Month, you probably recognize this little envelope. This is the happy mail that comes every month with your Build a Quilt block. And I have amazing staff and help that put this all together for me. And in that envelope is your block kit. And this is from last year's Build a Quilt. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes us different, show a little bit of the fabric, just have a good old time. So let's get to it. So when I talk about Build a Quilt, I like to joke it's like a Block of the Month, but better. It's just a fun way to create your own customizable quilt. I'm trying to adjust that. There we go. So when I started thinking about, doing a Block of the Month, I was kind of, I've never done one before. It was not something I'm used to. But Joni, my right-hand Build a Quilt gal, was like, we need to do it and it can be really fun. And so we kind of, in our hybrid working together collaboration, came up with the Build a Quilt concept. And this will actually be our 7th Block of the Month. So the 7th year in a row we've done it. Doesn't that make you tired, Jessica? It makes me just a little tired thinking about it. So it's obviously stuck on. It's been a lot of fun. And registration for it only opens up once a year. So this isn't something that we're constantly rolling out. It's just every year. And we just wrapped up our recent one, and now we're looking forward to doing the next one. So for Build a Quilt, what I'm talking about, Block of the Month, I'm sure most of you kind of get the idea of a Block of the Month. You get the pieces of your blocks in little sporadic steps so that you can, tiptoe into it. And so this is just like that, of course. I design all the blocks for our Build a Quilt Block of the Month, and we can kind of see here, these will be next year's blocks. So these will be the ones we will see next year. And honestly, designing the quilt pattern itself is probably harder for me than the fabric, just because, I want to hit those block designs that can be easy, but still challenging enough that you feel like you're learning, but not so hard that you don't want to do it, kind of thing. And I want it to look interesting, but be easy. So it's just always this kind of idea. And if you think about it, if we've done Build a Quilt 7 years, this will be 70 blocks. And so trying to change it up and keep it interesting. But that's what is so great about quilting is it's just so easy to switch it up. So like other block of the months, we'll have 10 blocks in the kit that you get in the mail, or if you come in store, it includes the fabric and the pattern. But besides the 10 blocks, this is where we kind of veer off from most block of the months. We have it where it's more customizable. So it's like you're building a quilt. Get it? So as part of the block of the month, I designed 3 different fabric collections, 3 whole fabric collections to offer you so you can have your choice. The idea being, if you don't like one colorway, you might go for another. And so this part right here is probably the most time-intensive part of the whole design process, is coming up with the 3 fabric collections. And I will tell you, every year, 2 of them come easy and 1 of them doesn't. And every year I'm like, forget it. We're just going to do 2 this year. But it always pulls out with a 3, so it's kind of fun. So the first one I'm doing is Scarlet Sky. So all the same blocks, just different color placement. And one of the things I'm thinking of when I'm designing fabric, the very first thing I have to hit is the colors. So if I'm designing 3 fabric collections that are going to go together, they need to not be the same. And I try not to keep it similar to what we've done in the past. So for this one, I decided to do a kind of crimson scarlet color with some blues and some grays. And so this is going to be kind of the bridge in between ultra masculine or ultra feminine. It's just kind of right in the middle. And I think it's pretty fun. This year, for sure, I feel like the fabric collections don't really look like anything I've done before. That's what's kind of fun about stretching ourselves creatively. For those of you that are learning how to machine quilt, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that learning process. So for this one, it's just so great how the blocks look completely different based on the fabrics you're using. And if you're a quilter watching this, I know you know that already, but when you see them right up next to each other, it's pretty fun. So this is the 10 blocks. These are the 10 blocks in the Scarlet Sky collection. And then when I'm designing the fabric collection, and I know every fabric designer is totally different, so this is just me, I usually start with the main focus print or the theme of it. I just need a direction to point into. Now, that's not saying that doesn't change, because sometimes those things evolve and it comes out completely different. And Jessica's like, I thought you were doing kitty cats, and it ends up being dragons or whatever. But for this one, I was thinking it would be neat to design a print that looked batik-ish, but not actually batik fabric. And so kind of pulling off those colors, and that's that main focal print. Little abstract, little multicolored, just really pretty and kind of very tonal in the way it goes together. Once I kind of have an idea of that, then I start pulling out the colors in that main print and creating the rest of the collection. Now, I will say designing these fabric collections is totally different than just designing any random fabric collection, because I'm actually going to plug these in to the blocks. So I have to make sure that they're going to work in all different ways. So instead of just putting together something that looks cute and sending it out, I'm making sure they all look good in the blocks. So it's a lot of back and forth between that. This one, I love some textures, some tonal prints, some fabrics that aren't too crazy. I myself don't do great with really bright, bold prints. So just a nice blue kind of texture, and then some floral and the dots on the side. Then I just pull out another color. So that little bit of scarlet color, it's very unusual for me, but I'm digging it. I think this might be my colorway. And then also rounding it out with some different multicolor prints, just so they all work together. And if I'm being honest with you all, if you're watching live, my least favorite thing to do is pick out fabric for a quilt pattern. I'm not really good at it. So it is quite the process trying to design the collection and make sure it works in the quilt. So that would be our Scarlet Sky. So very, very fun. But if that doesn't float your boat, right? If this is like the dating game for colorways, maybe this one will do the trick, you know. Urban Collage likes long walks on the beach. It's a Libra and will never, ever question your fabric purchases. Okay, I'm just being silly. But Urban Collage is the more kind of, I'm going to use this loosely, masculine, more saturated, more abstract, more modern kind of colors. And for the last probably couple years, we've been talking about colors, and I've always wanted to do that kind of tan, rusty kind of color, because it's super trendy right now, but not necessarily in quilts. But it's such a tricky color to work with. But I think I've used brown without making it look brown. So with this one, I'm thinking kind of like, you know, very saturated, very graphic, and these are the blocks in those colors. So totally different. And I think weirdly, my favorite color is that olive green. I think I'm really loving that. But for the prints themselves, again, starting with that focal print, I was kind of imagining like grunge, rusty, industrial kind of thought was kind of what was in my head. And so I thought paint splash kind of thing. And so that was that main focal print. So you can see the colors in there, the hint of a cream, maybe a little bright blue, but mostly pretty dark and saturated. And then like the other colorways, and I'm pulling out the different colors. I'm kind of mixing up the size of the prints because I do want them to look nice in a quilt block. I have to make sure that this fabric will stand out against the other one. And I mean, if you think about it, it's just all about contrast with your fabrics. So I love the dot too. And then this one on the other edge that looks like snake skin kind of, I really love that one. It's not snake skin, so if you don't like snakes, don't worry. It's more of a abstract texture. But then just like the other colorways, pulling in those, you know, complementary colors, the dark blue, the regular blue, the texture, and the green. And so very, very fun and different. Again, very different for me. I love blue for sure, but I don't usually use green in quilts, so it's kind of fun. Now that I think about it, I might have to do this colorway. I don't know. So here's this picture of some of the fabric. So as I'm designing these fabric and prints, we actually produce our own. So there's a lot of test prints that come out, and I'm cutting out the pieces and I'm putting them together and then getting a headache and then getting pissed and walking away. Jessica's laughing because she's seen that, right? And then just keep playing with it until they finally coalesce and I have the 9 colors. And so sometimes seeing it on actual fabric is just really fun. Totally different than the screen. And lastly, lazy days. I think I named it this just because I like the way it rolls off the tongue, but it's meant to be inspired by, you know, lazy days outside in the sun in the summer. I'm already kind of looking forward to winter, so this might just keep me perky throughout the whole winter. And there we can see just the softer prints, more floral, more, you know, just not so saturated, not so graphic, and contrasting a little bit more subtle, more soft. So loving the blocks in this. So like that teal, which I'm a fan of teal with the green, which is a little unusual. A little pop of blush, some cream. I'm not usually pink florally kind of person, but I mean, I was really kind of loving this. And the process of designing anything, so if any of you out there are a creative designer, you know what I'm talking about. It's like never a straight line. Right? It's up, down, everywhere. That you're high, you're low. You're thinking this thing is finished. It's nowhere close to being finished. But this one, I really enjoyed just all the process of this one because it was just a little bit different. So again, there's that floral print. I mean, quilters, we love flowers. I don't personally love really realistic flowers. So I just kind of liked that little bit of texture there and the different colors. So that was the main print. And then pulling out those colors again, that just to make those other prints. And that dark teal speaks to me, speaks to my heart. And then the blush, which is, it's a pink, but I think blush just sounds more adult, right? More fancy. It's just a soft hint of blush, and then rounding it out with some other prints. So it's so crazy to see all these pictures and know that it took months and months to get to this point. But I'm here. I'm glad it's all done. So there's some pictures of some of the prints in that. So I know that the hard thing about shopping online is you can't really touch it and see it, but it's also difficult taking the pictures so that they represent it, so it's just kind of fun. All right, so when you sign up, you pay a one-time registration fee if you want to, and you get your 10 blocks every month. And so that's that little kit we've got here. So what comes in your kit? I'm so glad you asked. It's going to come with the pattern for your block, of course. So all the patterns are designed and written by yours truly, if you like them. If you don't like them, then Jessica wrote them and designed them. Okay, so we'll just go with that one. But we print out the pattern. It's full color. I spend a lot of time on the illustrations. I just want to make it easy to read, lots of fun. And so pattern, of course, is included. And then this year I'm doing something just a little different. When I have space or if I have place on the pattern, I'm showing some different variations of that same block. So kind of building off the Build a Quilt theme, right? So this top block, for instance, is block 2. I think it's block 2. Maybe it's block 1. It's one of those. And so the way I wrote it is at the top, but then in the pattern, I'm going to show how you can create some different effects just by rotating it or leaving some steps out. So my hope is that we'll just have so many different styles of quilts, so many different variations by the time we're done. One thing that I love about our block of the month, or I love about designing fabric or even producing our own fabric, is I can make whatever I want. It is the funnest, overwhelmingest challenge that there is. But we've done Build a Quilt for 3 or 4 years, and let me tell you, cutting that fabric out is a pain. Lots of chances for error, lots of running out of fabric. Well, when I started designing fabric, I thought I can design a panel, one fabric panel that has all the fabric you need for that block. It's labeled block 2, so you can keep in its little envelope until you're ready to use it. So really has cut down on errors. It really just, it's so much fun, a lot easier to cut. And then, of course, you have all your stuff right there. So that's a little bit different. And that's, again, why I love this labor of love of designing all this and doing all the fabric. It just allows us to do that. So that all comes with the registration fee. And we keep it nice and cheap because we want you to come in. Since I do everything myself, we don't have to buy the program, which is nice. But then, again, another thing that we do a little different is in April, we release optional layout kits. So these are finishing kits, so you can take your blocks and put them in a quilt pattern. So this quilt kit includes the fabric for the top and the binding, but not the blocks, right? So again, you can see the totally different look with the different fabric placement. I think it's really cool to see all the different variations. Now, this is just one of the layout options. All 3 of them will be announced, like I said, in April. And then we give you the option to go ahead and pre-order it then. So if you are gung-ho and you want to finish this thing up, you can. If you're more like me, you buy it, put it on the shelf, and get to it when you get to it, you can do that as well. So that's optional, add on to it, but real fun. So all the blocks, though, finish at 12 inches. So if you have a pattern laying around that uses 12-inch blocks, you can plug it into that pattern as well. And if you kind of imagine it without the blocks in it, you can see just the layout, the background there. So the layouts are yet another labor-intensive thing, because if you think about it, 3 layouts, 3 colorways, that's like 9 patterns. But it is so fun when I get to see show and tell at our Build a Quilt meetings and people bring in the different variations over the years. It's too fun. I thought I would pull together, just to give you an example, this was last year's finishing kits. So these were the 3 options for last year. Not going to be the same this year, but just kind of shows you when I'm designing the patterns for the blocks or the fabric or the finishing kits, I want them to be different enough that you have 3 solidly different options. And so when I'm kind of sitting down, I try to have one variation that is easier, kind of quick to piece. That's going to be for the newbie quilter, the person that is time strapped. And then usually one that has a little bit more piecing, not difficult, but just a little bit more piecing to it. So we spend a lot of time trying to hit all the things with that as well. So that's an optional thing. And then we also, again, designing the fabric, producing it allows us to do some fun stuff. And we notice that sometimes we make oops. Sometimes we are drinking too late at night and it's time to cut, and I shouldn't be. And so we put together these oops panels. And so these fabric panels have a little bit of all 9 of the fabrics in the Build a Quilt. So it's a cheaper option as opposed to buying yardage of each one. And so we do have those available for pre-order on the website. So you can check that out too. Of course, not required, but just really fun thing to have on hand if you need fabric. But we also do, since we produce it, we have all the yardage online as well. So you can do that as well. So I'm getting ready to land this plane and answer your questions and announce the giveaway or the winner here in a second. But real quick, just the details. There's a couple different ways that you can participate. If you want, most of you watching don't live in the Kansas City area. That's okay. I won't hold it against you. But if you are cool enough to live in the Kansas City area, we have an in-store option where you come to the monthly meetings in person and we don't mail the blocks. But we also have an online and an international option. So if you want your block mailed to you, you don't live in the area, easy to do, or international. So different price points with that, but that's the one-time registration fee. That has probably been the biggest question asked since we've started Build a Quilt. It's not a monthly thing, it's one fee that gets you the 10 blocks in the fabric. So anyway, that's the details. It starts in November. On November 10th is when that first block goes out. And registration is open. So if you don't want to miss out, you want to make sure you get it, you can click the link in the description box, or I have a QR code right here that you can scan as well. Again, I know not blocks of the month are not for everybody. I will tell you, my mom, when she started quilting, I'd been quilting for several years, but she signed us up for a block of the month. And after a couple of months, I told her it was too much stress for me. I had too much pressure, so I didn't want to do it anymore. I gave her the fabric back. But it's not for everybody, but it's a really fun way to kind of push yourself and to quilt with other people. Plus, with that, we have monthly meetings. We have a Facebook group. We have a lot of fun exclusive gifts or exclusive products and deals for our Build a Quilt. So it's like a whole little community. It's a lot of fun. So again, you can check out the description box. Click the link in there if you want. But lots and lots of fun. And I promise I won't always harp on this. For those of you, this is your first live watching. I will say we normally talk about machine quilting, but like I said, it was just a fun little show and tell for all the effort put in there. All right, if you have not, put your name in for the giveaway. If you're watching live and you want to get your Hoot and Holler fabric fat quarter bundle, make sure you leave a comment, and I'm going to pick a winner here very, very shortly. And whoever wins is going to be very excited for more fabric stash. All right, the one thing about Build a Quilt is that since it's different, there's usually a lot of questions about it. I don't know, Jessica, do you have any questions? You've just been going through all the interest. I will tell you one question that came up in the type chat before I started is quilting diagrams. 2 years ago, or a couple years ago, I put together diagrams for the Build a Quilt block of the month. Just ideas for quilting it, and I have not done that last year or this year. Somebody asked, like, hey, are you going to do that? I'm going to try, no promises. It's just, by the time that one Build a Quilt lands, there's another one coming on down. Okay, can you buy the fabrics outside of Build a Quilt? Yes, you can. They're not on the website yet, but they will be soon. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to have that Scarlet Sky, you can definitely buy it. Yardage will be on our website. Since we produce it ourselves, we're not really set up for distribution, so we are the only website you can get it from. So quiltingismytherapy.com. Will there be different blocks for this Build a Quilt, for this block of the month, from last year's? Yes. So fun. Every year is totally different. Totally different blocks, same size, just because it fits, works well, same size blocks, but totally different. I think eventually something we've been brainstorming is coming up with like a book of all the years Build a Quilts together. It'd be kind of fun. Is the fabric 100% cotton? Absolutely, yes. So it's quilt shop quality fabric. If you have ever tried paintbrush solids by Fabric Quilt, that's the base cloth. It's luscious, so it's very smooth, very nice hand. It's just gorgeous. So I know, like hearing like, oh, they produce it themselves. It feels so nice. It's the same fabric that we use for all our challenges. We've done it for Build a Quilt since this will be the 4th year, I think, with it. So I love it. Will backing fabrics be available? Yes. So again, one of the cool things is like, oh, I could just design that. It's also kind of a bad thing, right? I don't have anybody reining me in. So sometimes I have fabric collections that have way too many prints. But yes, so we will make some backing fabrics extra wide there. Can I order Build a Quilt now and sew it next year? Absolutely. So you sign up now and then we mail the blocks out every month and you get to it when you get to it. And I will say, I kind of have a different view on this than most quilters. I know some quilters are like kind of beating themselves up about it, like, oh, I have so many projects. I don't let my projects make me feel guilty. I get to them when I get to them. But yeah, if I make 10 blocks, can I do any of the finishing kits? Yeah. So all the finishing kits work for those 10 blocks. And which is always very interesting. If you've ever tried designing a quilt pattern with 10 blocks, it's interesting. Try it. Let me know. And winner, Fat Quarter Bundle winner. So we have a winner here. Thanks for, I'll announce it here in 1 second. Thanks for watching the live chat. I'll be back next week, next Thursday at 3 p.m. Central. I know that life is busy and I know this is kind of in the middle of the day, but if you can't catch it live, no worries. It stays on my YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe and give the chat a thumbs up. Let other quilters know you like it. So I'll be back next Thursday, but one lucky quilter is going to get this Fat Quarter Bundle, and it's going to be Linda Cassius. I'm thinking that's how I say your name, right? Linda Cassius. So shoot us an email, customer service at quiltingismytherapy.com, and we will send you this Fat Quarter Bundle. And if your name is not Linda Cassius, I'm so sorry, but you can still use that Hoot promo code and get 20% off until next week. So if you need a last minute treat bag, last minute fall Halloween project, it'd be perfect. So all right, y'all, I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you enjoy the weather, and I will see you very, very soon for the next week's live chat on Thursday at 3 p.m. Central. Until then, everybody, stay safe and happy quilting.